Good evening and welcome back to ParaGhoul Paranormal Discoveries from the Dark. I'm your host, K.D. Culpa, a horror author and paranormal researcher based in Regina, Saskatchewan. Each week on the podcast, we dive into the shadows of Saskatchewan's past and even go beyond, uncovering dark history, mysteries, urban legends, and sometimes we even get to some monsters. If you're one of the listeners that comes back each week but aren't yet subscribed, please hit that follow button and share it with someone who loves the weird and wonderful. I've got more big guests and haunted deep dives coming your way, so join me now as we explore the unknown and bring life to the ghosts and monsters hiding in the dark. So, Elliot, for listeners who may not know you yet, could you kind of give us a little bit about yourself and about Phantoms of Yore?
All right. So I established Phantoms of Yore with Eric Oikle, now Eric Prevost, back in 2018. The idea was to create programming at historical sites to allow people to investigate for the paranormal. And these are sites that are often difficult to enter as a private team or a individual group. So in exchange, we've raised, I think, over a $250,000 so far since 2018 for historical sites,
Wow,
and thousands of people coming through and investigating for the paranormal in some of Eastern Ontario's most haunted sites.
that's very cool. And I imagine the historical locations really appreciate because I know I was just talking to someone that works in the Saskatchewan Historical here in Saskatchewan, and I was amazed how little money they get from the government to help with keeping the sites going.
hmm Uh, Funding is always based on numerous factors. A lot of it has to do with foot traffic through the buildings, programming, and I mean, Canada's pretty good to the historical sites. It's not like the US. You go to the US, and what happens to their historical sites is they go to the highest bidder. So they end up in private hands.
True.
And this is why paranormal tourism is so huge in the United States, because there's so many historical sites that are just readily available to someone who's willing to pay. Canada tends to hold on to their historical sites, and they utilize a lot of different organizations to do that. Parks Canada has a huge hand in that.
Yep.
Ontario Heritage Trust here in Ontario is one of the main characters as well in that. So there is a lot of money going around, but they all have to share it, and that's where kind of the I don't want to say conflict, but um, museum battles over fundings. There's a split in every like county that there's this much funding, and they have to give one site this much, this one this, and they have to come up with a divide. And
Yeah.
usually it would go by how large the site is, what the needs are, how much traffic are they seeing, who would best utilize that money. And sometimes some museums get kind of at the bottom of that list,
Right.
right? They get the smallest amount of funding. I did something unique in Mississippi Mills where I was asked to have a collaborative historical site paranormal event. So
Oh,
what
okay.
and this included the Milliken Till, which you featured. So they wanted all the museums to work together. Um, so we ended up having a like road traffic investigation. So we equipped multiple teams and they drove around Mississippi Mills, stopping for an allotted time to investigate each historical site. And it was like a
Oh,
6 p.m. to 2 a.m. event. And it was
oh,
just,
wow.
I think we had like maybe it's like 60 people a night, maybe. And they're all just they had an itinerary at to be at this building this time. We gave them the IR cameras, all the equipment. We had facilitators, volunteers at every site, and they just went from site to site to site. And that was a very interesting event. And it was nice to see the museums working together on something. And I think they all received about $2,000 each for four museums
Well, that's not
just
bad.
just in one weekend.
Yeah. Wow, that's very cool. I guess what kind of brought you into this world, paranormal industry?
Uh, I worked with other groups. I kind of came into it. as a full-time passion, I should say. I work in corrections, so this is not a full-time gig for me. I
Oh,
do this
okay.
just to help out historical sites with my spare time. Um, so, I didn't see a lot of value towards historical sites. I'm more of a history guy. I love history. The ghosts are just what make it so interesting,
Yep.
right? The ghosts are the connection to history, right?
Yep.
So, a big pitch for doing these events for historical sites is that, this will bring in a demographic that would never visit the historical site, right? But the ghosts bringing them in and they walk away with the history. Okay, so that's kind of the key point
Yep.
for historical sites, that they reach a new demographic, right? And they're learning the history, they're learning the culture and the heritage by coming to the site looking for the ghost. Just who are they trying to connect with? They're trying to connect from the people who were in that building hundreds of years ago.
Yep.
So, I didn't like the paranormal team conflict. I didn't like the competition. I didn't like the egos in that side of the paranormal world. I stepped away from it. I wanted to strictly serve the community. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to help the historical sites. So we created a program and offered it to sites, and it's just snowballed since then. So I don't see myself as a paranormal team per se.
Yep.
We do our own investigations because we enjoy it. We like to have fun, but the majority of our time is running these programs at multiple historical sites. And we enjoy hearing the people's experiences and their stories. And that's kind of what keeps me going, is allowing people to have the opportunity to do a bucket list thing,
Yep.
right? And that's what a lot of them call it, is they call it a bucket list event. I've always wanted to do this. And the way we facilitate our events is, you get the IR camera, you film in infrared, you get to hold all the equipment. We're not with you. We're not telling you what to do. You get to go in and investigate how you want to investigate.
Yep. Oh,
It's
that's
it's
cool.
it's structured, right?
Yep.
There's time allotments that you have to follow, right? And there may be other people in your small group that you don't want to work with, and you end up separating, but we have enough equipment so that people can separate. So if you come with your loved one and you just want to do it with them and not join the other people, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. For the diehards that come, they talk about contamination. Well, there's other people making noise, right? But it's really an introduction. We've had many teams who have built from just coming to these events, doing the tourism thing, loving it. It gives you an opportunity to use the tools,
Yep.
right? To try all the different kinds of equipment and see what works for you before you go spend hundreds of dollars,
Yeah, that's true.
right? And you do pick up evidence. We've gotten great captures out of the, public investigations, but then any critical person in the paranormal field would go, oh, it's all contaminated. It's a public event. It's not about the evidence, it's about the experience.
Yep. Yep. No, that's very cool. And that's how I've been approaching everything paranormal. I think I told you we're doing our own kind of a first attempt at a ghost tour here in Regina. And of course, my background is very much, I like the history behind. I always say I'm trying to find the stories behind the ghosts, not just finding the ghosts, but what are the stories for the ghosts.
Mhm.
So I think that, yeah, we kind of connect on that aspect of it. It's the history.
My favorite piece is that when we get approached by a site, so here in Cornwall, the Klein House, an old heritage house, now an art gallery, and they're supported by the city of Cornwall. They asked if we could do something for them, some fundraising, so we did. And so okay, they experience certain things, but then the path of discovery is what makes it so fun. Is, okay, now I have to go and research who was in this house, who
Yep.
died in this house, what was the dynamics of the family, right? And then you start to look for or you find super interesting things that may explain the haunting. And then you learn that, okay, well, 5 members of that family did die in this house. Well, that's
Yep.
interesting,
Yep.
right? Or another one where they reached out to us as they found an urn in the wall, an old heritage house,
Oh.
and they didn't know whose urn it was. So I did the research. I went through the Ralph family. I went through what was going on, and I found out that the husband and the wife, they separated for some reason. He ended up going to a hospital in Ogdensburg, and he ended up dying of some sort of viral disease. Well, in that time period, I think it was like the 1940s, cremation wasn't a common thing. They would only do it for if you had some sort of disease or something. They were
Oh,
afraid,
right.
whatever, right? Because a lot of religions at the time did not approve cremation in those days. So my theory, or my working hypothesis for this is that because the graveyard is right beside the house, like not too far away, I think that whatever happened, whether it was adultery or whatever between the couple,
Hmm.
and the wife was a pastor's daughter, so made it more interesting. I
Oh,
think that she did not want to be buried with him, and she put him in the wall of the house closest to the house, their house,
yeah.
to not be buried with him. So his plot's there
Oh,
beside hers, but my theory is that whatever happened between them that caused the separation, whether he was an adulterer, right? He was a
yeah.
sinner, and she didn't want to be buried beside a sinner and put him in the
Put him
wall.
in.
So,
Oh, interesting theory.
so the family put the urn back in the wall. So now we do know them very well now, and the next time we go, we're going to pull it out. We're going to get the urn out.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I always find these, yeah, historical buildings, you never know what you're going to find when you start digging into it. Yeah. Do you have like a favorite spot that you've been to?
Really, I don't like playing favoritism with ghosts. They're just like human beings. They're all unique in their own way. Um, I can say where I feel most uncomfortable. This one, not at L'Oreal jail, I feel the most uncomfortable for some reason. Here, when I'm alone, I do feel uncomfortable, especially just the jails because of the people who were here and the energy that's here, all the trauma, all the death.
Yep.
Like even now, as we talk, I may hear a cell door clank or footsteps or something like that. But that's usually when I experience the most at the sites is when I'm around alone, setting up, or afterwards when I have to go lock all the doors and turn off all the lights. And
Yep.
sometimes I'll tell the groups that I'm supervising, all right, you got to stick with me to lock the doors because they're in here stirring stuff up, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and I'm stuck wandering around in the dark with a flashlight, having to lock and secure all the doors.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's just when you worked with a site for so long and, paranormal experiences are rare. It's like it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
Um, but when you do it for, as long as we've been doing it for 7 years with the same sites, you've been around long enough to have experienced things to really convince you that there's something unnatural happening.
Yep.
And the possibility of something unnatural happening is real.
Yep.
Can I prove it to somebody? No, but it's already been proven to myself and my own belief system because there's been many things I can't explain that have occurred at these sites. But it is a rarity. It doesn't always happen,
Yep.
you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've always found when I want something to happen, it never does. And then
We
when I don't expect for it to happen, that's always when something happens.
when we see from the public patrons who come through to investigate, the ones who want it the most seem to experience the least.
Yep.
And the ones that come in, not even paranormal people, just coming in for, a good time to have fun, Halloween season, whatever it is,
Yep.
they end up getting the more crazy experiences out of it. But the people who want it so much, it's almost like they give off that energy,
Yeah.
you know. Children bring out the most. There's the youth that bring out the like things that have impressed me, being witness to it, just checking in on groups and seeing things happen that I can't make sense of. So I think it has something to do with the youth energy, and also people who are pregnant, I find get a lot of activity.
Oh,
And
really?
I think it's almost as though like they're carrying around that window to the other side, within the womb. And there's something about that energy
Yep.
that just like when we've had, like I can tell, we had a pregnant woman who was at the table at the gatehouse, and the whole table levitates and moves across the floor. And that's something we've never captured or heard of from that building. And I'm like, it must be because she's pregnant,
Yeah,
as
something
he
to do with
is,
it.
because that family at the gatehouse at the Milliken Tail, the Baird children, he had two daughters and he had two sons, and none of them ever married. None of
Oh,
them had children, which is so weird with pioneering families because they
that
all came
is.
over in 1830. So 1840s, 1850s, 60s, the whole point of coming to Canada was to procreate, was to have children, to grow your family, to merge with other families, right? But
Yeah.
how can he come over as a wealthy businessman and have zero children no marriages of your
Yeah.
children. It's the whole line died out there. They all died on that property. And it's just fascinating. Like, why?
Yeah, interesting. So yeah, so it'd
But
be interesting that a pregnant woman would cause extra energy. Makes you kind of wonder
it's
why.
just something I've noticed.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But
family connection is another one I notice a lot. It's when people come through, whether it's a medium who's watching the live feeds that we have for the events, or the devices, or even voices, or even the Ouija board, people
yep,
tend to communicate with their lost loved ones.
yep.
And this is a common occurrence. And, and sometimes they'll cry. And I just tell them you know, you've been waiting for a message. There's no better opportunity than them seeing you go to a ghost hunting event
Oh,
to
definitely.
try to get their message across. Right. So, I mean, that's totally fascinating. And that's what's in it for me is just seeing these experiences and meeting these people. We have regulars that we've seen yearly for since the beginning that just keep coming back. And it's not like they want to build a team or want to be part of a paranormal team. They just want to come into haunted locations and have a good time. It's something different to do on a Friday or Saturday night. You
Yep,
come out, you spend 3 to 4 hours, in the dark,
yep.
trying to talk to the dead. It's a different experience. It beats going to the movies or going to the bars or, it's something. It's an activity, a team building activity. It's a fun night out, right? And we've never had complaints, never had bad reviews. It just people love it that much, and it's getting to a point we can't handle more. We have sites reaching out, and we have so many sites that we work so closely with. We can't really include more sites
Yep,
into our schedule because we all work full time. We have families, and even as it is, it's taking up too much of our time to
yep.
start slowing down.
Oh, I believe it.
Um, it's just Canada doesn't offer this type of tourism like the United States does.
Yeah,
You can't go to an area in the United States and not find a ghost hunting tour, a ghost walk, right? Or a place you can book to do an investigation. Here in Canada, it's a rarity, right?
yeah.
To
I
have
feel
this
like
type.
it's starting to grow, maybe certain areas, not everywhere, but
Yeah, I think it's getting to a level of consistency, right? Because a lot of the teams will do their paranormal 101s or they'll have a little event where people can
yeah,
join them for a ghost hunt. But it's not like you're going in and doing it yourself. You're essentially an audience to this team going in there and ghost hunting.
yeah,
Whereas our model is you're the ghost hunter, you're the investigator. You're doing it on your own. We're
yeah,
not there to tell you what to do or how to do it because there's no right or wrong way.
yeah,
Everyone has their own methods, and that's something that has to be respected.
yeah.
It's, and that's why I think when we have groups come in, because usually it's 6 to 8 people per group that we have, and they never work together.
No.
The original idea is that they would work together. Because most paranormal teams are 6 to 8 people,
Yeah,
right? But they don't want to work with other people. And I get it because not everybody investigates the same way,
that's true. Yeah,
and everyone has a different belief system,
yeah,
right? You could have a skeptic coming in here to disprove anything, and
yeah,
that's his motivation. Or you have a full-on psychic sensitive believer who's in here and everything's a ghost. They're seeing things everywhere and hearing things, right? There's just so I mean, it's great that we can give people the opportunity just to do it themselves with whoever they
that's
want to
true.
do it.
Do you have any personal experiences yourself that kind of stands out?
Tons all the time. Um, I mean, the most mind-boggling incident that's happened, it's not the scariest incident, but one I can't explain, I still can't explain, is Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, West Virginia. We were there for private booking. So every March, whatever leftover funds after our expenses with the batteries and the equipment and the travel and all that stuff, we planned a trip for the whole volunteers, for the whole crew. And we usually pick a spot in the US. So we go and that year we did the lunatic asylum. And it was pretty quiet all night, but then we went up to the fourth floor where the Shadow Man is. I don't know if you ever watched I think it was Paranormal Lockdown. They captured this shadowy thing slithering across the
Oh,
floor.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen that. Yep.
So we went up there and we did our last session. We took all the guys and we left all the girls downstairs. And this was an all guy session. This was the end of the night, and we were going to do a double Estes. And an Estes for me, it's, you know, spirit box stuff. It's like I'm not a full on believer in it, but I think it's a fun activity to do just to enjoy the evening. Like,
Yep.
who knows what could come out of it. And we've had a lot of interesting things come out of it, but I'm not a full on believer it's a ghost talking. It's just a super fun thing to do. So we did a double Estes. I put Corey, one of our guys, into a far room on that floor, and I had Eric sitting out by the stairwell, and Josh and myself, and Dan was on camera. And we start asking questions, and then all of a sudden we hear a voice calling out. And we like at first we thought maybe like because we had a live feed running that maybe the live was coming through one of our phones or something. And every time we talked, we would hear this voice come out of nowhere that was nobody that was on the floor. And all the men were there. There's no other men. It was a
Hmm.
man's voice. So we just kind of think nothing of it. And at one point I said, well, okay, enough's enough. We checked everyone's phones. And then I went downstairs to see if anybody was downstairs. Nobody was there. We went back up, and this voice started transitioning into our own voices. So what you call a mimic.
Oh,
And it slowly turned into Eric's voice. And it was getting so loud that Josh, who was listening, was repeating what it was saying. But we were so hung up on it being that there was a natural explanation that we weren't really thinking too crazy about it at the time. Just we're like, we're going to figure out what this is, but we could
yeah.
never figure it out. There was this extra voice that was talking to us. And if you want to go look at it on our YouTube, go look at it and listen. Like it's weird. And like for me, that's one of the most complexing experiences I've had because I know who was in the building. I know all the men were on the floor. I know everybody's voice. And if it were the live feed, it would be repeating what we were saying consistently, but it
Yeah.
wasn't consistent. And what the voice was saying was not things that we were saying.
Weird.
So this makes me want to
Hmm.
go back, but that
Oh,
site
okay.
has a $2,000 price tag on it.
Oh,
So
I didn't know
now,
that.
so now it's like, okay, well, maybe one year we'll plan to go back there for a revisit.
That's interesting.
Just I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in all that crap. That's
Yeah.
not me. I just scratches, ghosts can hurt you, attachments. I just don't believe in that stuff. It's just, it is not to say that there's not a possibility it could be real. I just personally have never experienced it. And I think at this point I would,
Yeah.
with because we've been the
Well, yeah.
Conjuring House, Phyllis Stats Murder House, we've been like all over the place. Our sites here in Canada are way more active than the ones we've been to in the States. But I mean, I just personally don't believe in that kind of stuff. And I put the mimic in that boat. But experiencing a mimic, now I'm wondering, okay, well, what kind of power do these entities actually have?
Yeah.
If they could vocalize to that level, because we've always had EVPs, we've always heard things in locations, but they're always soft whispers, distant voices, things like that, but not an outright, fully audible voice that you could comprehend in the moment, like it was really just down the hall.
Yeah. Oh,
Super, super
wow.
creepy. I mean,
That
I'll
would
send,
be.
I mean, it's probably like a good 40 reels back if you look for it. But I think I have the big words mimic on it. So maybe if you search mimic or Phantoms
Oh,
of
yeah.
Yore,
And
they'll
I'll
come up.
I'll make sure to
Um,
link it in the podcast description too, because that would be a good one if
yeah,
people want to check it out.
I mean, that's probably the strangest thing I've come across. Personal and fear experiences, there's more stories there. But in terms of like evidence stuff,
Yep.
that's probably the strangest thing I've experienced.
Did you have many experiences before you got into doing this kind of thing?
I've been into this stuff my whole life. I mean, in high school, I would skip class to go to the library and go read paranormal books, those old encyclopedias of paranormal, and you
Yep.
have all the stories from all over the world.
Yep.
I hated school. I mean, I finished it, went to college, I worked on a career, profession, but I mean, it's just class was boring. Like anything the teacher would lecture about, I would read in the book within 5 minutes, and then, okay, you don't have to keep talking. you know. So I would just go to the library and I would just read paranormal books or read things I was interested in. Come from a family of, I don't want to say like sensitives, but my mother's side comes from the Orkney Islands in Scotland, so um, a lot of witchery going on there. My mom always told me growing up she was a witch and she did tarot and all that stuff, and her grandmother and so on and so forth. So I was raised in a non-religious home, a very spiritual home,
Yep.
believing in ghosts and loving horror stories. So I would always go out and do my own little investigations when I was young at cemeteries or whatever. But I didn't really get into it full time as a passion. It was more of like a midlife thing. It's like, why am I just sitting around watching movies all the time? I should just go out there and do something.
Yep.
Right. So that's kind of how that started. It's just, I'm tired of having nothing to do. Let's just go after this. And then I joined some teams and wasn't that enjoyable because the whole hierarchy and politics of it all. And I thought they're all mimicking the TAPS Ghost Hunters or whatever other teams, lead investigator and tech, and you have to have all these different roles. And I'm like, that's just stupid.
Yep.
I'm like, then like, I love history, so you're the research guy, and I'm like, why do I have to have a title?
Yeah.
Like, like it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, so I just wanted to do my own thing after a few experiences with other groups and something that didn't have labels or roles and just a group of people who have a passion for it and like to get out there and enjoy it, right? And
Yep.
you get more experiences that way. When you go in with the rules and the certain ways of doing the structure, it's just I don't think ghosts like that, you
Yeah.
know. And especially when you have people in your group who are unhappy because of a big ego in the group, and it's just this bad energy. You don't want that.
Oh,
You
definitely.
want to
Yeah.
go in there with people you love and just have a good time, right? And
Yep.
just try to communicate. I always see it as like ghost counseling. Just going in there and just having conversations
Yep.
and see what happens.
Oh, I think the ghosts kind of respond to that kind of energy too, differently than if you just go in with an open mind to just have a conversation.
It's all about energy.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what it is. We can't explain what it is, but our mood, um, our enthusiasm, our excitement, our fear, that it creates uh, something that stimulates the activity,
Yep.
right? And, I don't know how to measure it. I don't know how to describe it. All I know from hosting thousands of people is I see a consistency with certain personality types and activity,
Yep.
right? The happier and the more excited you are, and the more your group is, connecting, the better experiences you'll get. If you come in with a boyfriend that you're dragging along just because you need somebody with you because you love the paranormal but he doesn't, that is
Hmm.
the worst energy. They get nothing. And especially if they start fighting and bickering. And
Oh, yeah.
sometimes they forget that they're live or that the cameras are rolling, right? Because all their footage is recorded and then I have to process it and I can't watch everybody's footage. I simply cut out the intro parts and just the investigating parts I upload to a private group where people can go and review their footage and look for evidence. And
Oh, okay.
they often ask us, they're like, "Well, do you edit it all?" I'm like, "Well, no. Like we have thousands of people. You know how many hours of footage that is?
That would
Like,
be a lot.
no." I said some people like to put on the headphones and listen for EVPs, right?
Yeah.
And they like to find the evidence. And I tell them, comment, we'll check it out, we'll let you know what we think. And they do that, the diehards. And then you have people who just want to get together with their group, have some wine, and laugh at themselves on the big screen and just watch themselves talk to ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Which is perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? You're coming out to have a good time. You get to see your own ghost hunting show. And that's the
Yeah,
fun of
that's
the
cool.
public investigations, right? It takes us, up to 45 days to process the footage, but that's just there's so much of it.
Yeah.
And that's why we go live at every event so that when you go home, you can at least go back and watch yourself in the moment investigating until we
Yeah.
get that processed. Right.
That's
And
very cool.
we're just about to head into our fall season, which is wherever somewhere every weekend. The first weekends we'll process it pretty quick, but once we get to the last weekends, we're so backlogged already from the thousands of hours of footage that they end up waiting the longest at the end. And
Yeah.
the ones who investigate in the first weekend of November may not see it till December,
Yeah.
right? But at least we offer that.
Yeah, no, that's
And
very cool.
and that's something that people don't receive at other paranormal events is to actually have an opportunity to review footage and actually capture something. Having this style of public investigation in itself, it's its own experiment with these
Hmm.
many cameras rolling. And the thing is that a lot of people, I'd say probably around 60% of the people don't join the groups, right? Or even more. So can you imagine what could be captured on all that unseen footage in those groups?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Like we're talking about tons of hours of footage in haunted locations that's just not looked at, right? I mean,
Oh,
it could be a diamond in there,
oh, definitely. You never
right?
know.
But we just don't have time to watch it. So it's
Yeah.
up to the people to go back and watch it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I've never heard of that kind of being done before. That's a neat way of doing it.
I don't think anybody does that in
Yeah.
all of North America. I mean, it's kind of like a bonus. It's like you're not paying for that service when you come to the events. It's not a
Yeah.
part of it. It's just something we put our time and effort into because we want people to have that opportunity to really catch some sort of evidence or to
Hmm.
actually have the footage of themselves ghost hunting if something did happen.
No,
And
that's cool.
if it's really good, we'll cut it and we'll put it and we'll clip it and we'll share it publicly. It's like that table levitating or moving.
Yeah.
Like I put that out there. Another one here at the jail, people were upstairs having an Estes, and all of a sudden the spirit box would start playing music. And then they were like, that was weird. They said, can you play music again? And it would play music and then start sweeping again. They're like, well, can you play the music again? And then they'll start playing music. And the thing is, they took their camera, they went right up to the spirit box, and it was sweeping while it stopped. So it was playing music solidly, but sweeping.
Oh,
And we have that spirit box still, and it's never done that since. It was
weird.
so there was playing music on command while still sweeping.
That's
So
interesting.
it was
Hmm.
super interesting. So we cut that out and we shared that publicly. So when things happen, but they have to tell us. If they don't tell us,
Yeah.
we'll never find it.
Well, yeah, because that's a lot of stuff to go through to try and find stuff.
Oh, I mean, the amount of hard drives I have at home are ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like going all the way back to 2018.
Well, I
And
guess.
I
Oh, sorry.
and I don't ditch them. Like
Yeah.
I always have it a hard copy just in case they have that solid piece in there, like a full apparition or something. Who knows?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to accidentally delete something like that. Who knows?
Mhm.
That's cool. But before we wrap up, is there anything you want to kind of share with the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, if you're a paranormal team, get out there and offer programming to the historical sites. Build that rapport and that relationship with our historical sites. The more people do it across Canada, paranormal tourism may actually become a big thing, happen all over. And you don't need to have all the stuff we have to do it. You can have that audience engaged style event and then
Hmm.
grow from there, develop the program, right? Because that's how we started in the beginning. We didn't have enough equipment to give all these people their own kits, right?
Yeah.
It's from taking that little bit of revenue, which is the majority of it goes to the sites, and then putting it back in because we're a non-official nonprofit. So to be a nonprofit, you got to get lawyers involved, get
Oh,
documents
yeah.
signed and all that stuff. So we
Yep.
run a deficit. So we're just a small business that runs a deficit, right? We're always in the minuses, right? Because, everything we get back, we just dump back in. So
Yep.
eventually, starting from smaller events like the audience style events, it just grew and we adapted and created the structure that seems to work that people that enjoy. All right. And if anybody out there wants tips on how to approach sites or how to get started, just message us. I mean, we have teams messaging us all the time, asking like, well, how do you approach sites or what do you think of this equipment or that equipment? And right now, it's all about the Warrens house. We're getting messages now like, did you hear
Oh.
about the Warrens house? Like, like all sorts of, and I guess they're thinking like maybe we can do an event there. And I'm like, we can't do the cross-border stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a lot of people are interested in this.
Oh,
So I mean,
definitely. Seems to be growing for sure in interest.
like even just to walk. It's
Yep.
like I was at the Point Prim Lighthouse in Prince Edward Island, and it's never been investigated, and the ghost stories are not really publicly spoken of. Dug into it. The board people were like, "Oh, I never heard anything." I go in there, talk to the guides, and all sorts of crazy stories. And I'm like, with the ghost ship and the ghost hunchback and the ghost of Michael, like you guys can make a lot of money in the fall season just doing a ghost walk and talking about all the different ghost stories,
Yep.
right? And it's just about writing the script and finding the volunteers who are willing to do it. Here at the STG, I've been helping them with their script. L'Oreal Jail, I helped them with their script, and they've introduced these night tours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just share all the recent ghost encounters and things like that, and they develop a script and they take people on these walks. And some people prefer that to ghost hunting.
Yep.
We've had people walk out because they're like, I thought this was a ghost walk. And I'm like, no. I'm like,
Oh.
no, no, we're putting you in the dark with an
Yep.
infrared camera and you're going to talk to them without us. And they're like, what? Right. So, but there are people who just like to hear the stories and just to walk around.
Yep.
So, so any teams out there, just get out there and just, talk to the sites. And, it's just a lot of cold calls and emails and even just showing up and striking a conversation with a guide, being friendly. That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
And anybody out there who wants to get out there on a team or have always been wanting to do it, right? Just like when I started this, you just have to do it. Just get out there and just start doing something.
Yep.
Find some passionate friends. Don't need much equipment. You can go just with your cell phone. The recorders on our phones are great. Cameras
Yep.
are good. Use a flashlight. Just get out there and just have fun. Just start doing it.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah.
That
Thank you for listening to ParaGhoul Paranormal. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, then make sure you check out my local YQR Ghost Guide to learn more about the top ghosts and haunted buildings in Regina. Within the free download, you'll learn about who the most famous ghosts of Regina, Saskatchewan are, as well as some of the history behind the most haunted buildings. So head over to my website at kdkulpa.com to get your copy today. And before you go, I just want to say thank you for being here. Every listen, every share, every bit of support helps me take this podcast further. It allows me to interview bigger names in the horror and paranormal world, travel to more haunted places, and create more behind-the-scenes content just for you. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. I'll keep doing my part to make this show something special and spooky just for you. So stay tuned for more episodes where we uncover more secrets, unravel more mysteries, and dive deeper into the shadows. This is Katie Culpa, signing off. Until next time, my ghouls.